Welcome to Virtual Coffee with Dawn Rickabaugh, the Note Queen, where we talk about owner financing and notes. Financial solutions, one mom and pop to another.
All right, so it is 9 a.m. So we are going to formally start our, what is this again? We are Virtual Coffee. I've been doing this so long, I'm brain dead about it, I guess. But it's still, no, I'm not brain dead because this is my favorite. This is one of my favorite things of the month that I get to do. So please welcome yourselves. No, I'm welcoming you to Virtual Coffee, anything having to do with owner financing and notes. My name is Dawn Rickabaugh, and I guess I'm sharing my screen right now. So here it is, my site, notequeen.com. One thing I wanted to just mention super quick, just housekeeping items, is contact Dawn site here. I just want to remind people that we are a small family operated investment company, so we just have a limited amount of bandwidth. So we love connecting with people, helping people, but there's only so much we can do. So please don't be offended if you email us and you get a personal response. I really am sorry, but this is the venue that I have to share with people and converse in a very open and complimentary manner. And above and beyond that, we have a way for you to hire me one-on-one for some consultation, or there's plenty of free information that we've posted in our podcasts and our videos over the years. I just want, in case you already don't have one, I think if you're on this call, you do have one, but there's on the dashboard, if you create a Note Queen account, I just want to bring your attention to a few things that, but we've put up a lot of information now just for free. You can have the note appraisal course. We used to charge for that. Everything's complimentary once you create a login. So also the recordings for the Property and Paper Summit, we've got 2 years worth of recordings up there for you to peruse. The transaction review and calculator practice videos that are there are extremely, really good for you to consume when you're trying to get your mind around it. What are notes? What is owner financing? How does this whole dance between property and paper work? So if you'll spend the time, you can learn quite a bit there. So enough of that. All right, so real quick, there's just a couple of fast questions we're going to get through. I had a question, this is from Michelle Wells. I had a quick question about getting started as I am new to notes. How much is the average one how much do you need to get started? For example, can you get started with 20,000? So just super quick with investing in notes. Okay, let's just say, yes, there's notes of all sizes. I mean, I bought a note that had a balance of 4,000. I only paid $2 for it, but, and then we've bought them up as high as, I guess, $500,000 or something like that. But anyway, you have to remember, if you want a first position note and you want to be at 50 cents on the dollar, like you want to have an equity position where there's twice as much, there's as much above you as you're invested. So basically, if you have a $100,000 property, you just want to be invested at half of that, right? 50% loan to value. If you're being super conservative, let's just say for that. Well, then in that case, you would need to have $50,000 to have a property that's worth $100,000 securing your note, right? Now, sometimes you'll have $50,000 secured by $200,000 property. So that happens too. Or you can have $50,000 investment secured by a $75,000. Now that's getting a little squeakier, right? But anyway, so just remember, if you're starting with 20,000 and you want first position, 50% loan to value, your collateral is going to be probably worth no more than $40,000. So you just have to go, yeah, I understand that if I have a small amount of money, the collateral is probably not like, you're a nice 3-2 in a nice suburban area, right? So you're maybe going to have a mobile home in a park or a mobile home on land, or maybe not the best house in the best neighborhood, right? That's worth $40,000. So you just have to remember that the less the less you have, a lot of times the collateral securing that isn't going to be quite as high. So yes, the answer is yes, but it's easier if you have 50,000 and above, to start investing with. Okay, so anyway, just a quick thing there. There's always more we could dig into, but here's a Facebook question from Heidi. Can you help me figure out how to invest my money in hard money loans that are pretty safe? Thanks. Do you know anyone looking for a hard money loan? Well, yes, I do run into people, that need money. Mostly we take assignments. We're working on the secondary market where we buy notes that were originated through owner financing, but sometimes we do loan money, or you can loan money to us to buy notes. So the thing is, you can't get around learning how to do your own due diligence. So even if I bring you a deal or anyone brings you a deal, you should know how to evaluate that and make sure that you're comfortable with it, and that if something goes bad, you're okay owning that piece of property, right? That doesn't happen very often, but if it does, you got to know that you'd be happy owning the collateral securing the note. And so all I know is that you need to network. If you want to loan money and you want to keep it local, you got to go to real estate investment clubs. You got to check out all sorts of, check out the brokers. There's people that are just looking advertising, people that are, advertising that they loan money. But, going to events and rubbing shoulders with people is a good way to get started. But anyway, so that's just super quick. I mean, at this point, just as an update on what's in my world, I have quite a wide range of people that invest with me. I have, in the last year and a half, come up with a lady that's more like wants to be an angel investor. She actually, the return, that just doesn't charge her up. What charges her up is when she can step in certain situations, and she'll loan money to me or people or deals that I've put together at 5%. So it just has to be a feel good. She's like an angel investor, for people in the community, special situations where I say, hey, this person really deserves a chance. So I've got 5% money I can work with. I have quite a bit of money at 7% and 8%. Some of I really can't. It's usually no more than 10%. So if you're looking for above 10% consistently, that's not something that I can help you with. So anyway, just because look, if a note comes to me and I know that an institutional buyer will take this down at let's say a 9.5% yield. Well, then to be competitive, I've got to pay 9.5 or less. So let's say I buy a note at a 9% yield, and it's really good, safe, solid, right? Really juicy, great property, great collateral, great equity positioning. If my investor, I need an investor that'll take 7 or 8% to be able to make money putting that deal together. So if you want the really good stuff and you're not want to being an active investor, you're looking at in that 7 and 8% is pretty much where my money is coming in at. Like I said, on commercial deals or some vacant land, we started to do some actually marijuana. We'll conservative still, but we'll buy the marijuana paper. The owner carry notes secured by agricultural uses or they're growing legal marijuana. So anyway, that's not something the institutions will touch at this point. Anyhow, so those yields get up into the 10% realm, but just so people know. So I haven't answered that question very in the last little while. So now I want to, can we get Mike unmuted here? Let's talk to Mike.
Hi, good morning. This is Mike.
Hi, Mike. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I am an investor in the Cleveland, Ohio market. I've only been investing for maybe about a little over a year, and so and I do kind of all of the above, mostly fix and flips. I just sold I just sold an apartment building on owner financing. So that's
Hmm.
kind of my first dive into it. And
Yeah.
but I like the idea of lending rather than being landlord. So that's
Right.
kind of where I'm at right now. So yeah, and the apartment building was my first investment ever. It was a 17-unit building in Cleveland, and that was my first investment property ever. So that was a pretty deep dive for me.
Okay, but okay, you went from 0 to 60. So what were you
Yeah.
doing before you did that, though? I mean, just
Yeah. No, yeah. So and I currently so right now I pastor a church in and I'm actually in Hawaii. So I do all of my investing out of state in Cleveland. And um so yeah, so my goal is to actually keep my job and stay in the ministry. It's a small church, and so I'm looking to supplement my income and
right.
stay in the ministry, but doing helping, doing real estate also. So
Fantastic. So you're up early today.
yeah, it's about 7 o'clock, 7:15
Yeah.
here.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't start off with aloha or something. Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
I'm sorry, start off with
Aloha. I did not
aloha.
know
Right,
aloha.
well, let me do it now. Aloha.
Aloha.
Right, good.
Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. So actually, I was can you guys see here on my PowerPoint? I put up a few of your questions here, right? So this is one thing you wanted to talk about.
Yes.
Is you have come across a tired landlord. I guess this is in the Ohio area, or what?
That's correct. That's correct. Uh-huh.
So do
Yep.
you have family or boots on the ground back there or something? Or
I do have boots on the ground. So over the last year, I was able to make some connections and partner up with some people. And so, um, yes, I do in the Cleveland area. This particular deal, though, is just outside of Cleveland. So, I need to figure out, how I'm going to get some eyeballs there. But yeah, I do have a team there, so to speak.
so this is great. You're really this is a great situation where you're doing your passion work, your life work.
Right.
Spreading the good word, and but like on the side here, you're doing virtual long distance, real estate.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
pretty incredible. So I love this. And what I like is that this business, when you learn how to do it, right, you can create the cash flow that you need to keep doing what you're meant to be doing to better the world, right?
Absolutely.
Only the gifts only that you can give. That's why I really want people to unplug from the wealth vampires of Washington and Wall Street and figure out, take your retirement into your own hands and then do good with it, and then do good, which means doing good for you and your family, right? So that you guys are supported to do your divine work. So this
Hun-
is awesome.
Yep. 100%, Don. Yep.
Yes. Okay. So now we got all sorts of whys and rich, juicy passion behind it. Like it all matters,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Right now.
Yep.
So tell me more about this situation. And you said you wanted, I mean, I don't want to keep blabbing if you're already going. All I need is this. So I'll let you talk about this situation.
Okay, yeah. So this particular person doesn't want to be a landlord anymore. They're selling it. It's currently tenanted. There's a tenant in there paying $1,200, and they owe 80. However, they took out a HELOC of about 40 against their primary, to rehab it, to get it ready for a tenant. And so their debt is 120. But so the PITI on there, they're about it's about 700, 701. And then, but then they also are concerned about this HELOC, so,
Yeah, and they're paying probably minimum payments $250. So they
right.
are even if they're squeaking and there's not one teeny little rehab, they might get a couple $100 a month.
Right.
But I'll bet you they're not paying down that HELOC.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not fun for them, right? Because
Right.
they're one major expense away from, you know, not being able to swing this, right?
Yeah. That's right.
Not
That's
digging
right.
into their own. Okay, so you're trying to figure out what you will offer. So what
Yeah.
did we work over here? You were saying your
Okay.
ARV is 125, 130. You know, you do need to
Yeah.
you need to know exactly, you said you weren't sure about that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of the X factor in all of this. I just haven't, it's so new yet. But I haven't had time to actually try get a BPO or some kind of comps in the area. The only thing I've done was just do a quick look online, but those are always a little sketchy. So
Right. So what would you be doing for due diligence? You would
I would get somebody to, so I have somebody that I use in Cleveland, see if she would get out there and um inspect for me.
Is
uh,
she a licensed realtor or
no,
broker
she's an inspector. She's a,
inspector? Oh,
yeah, so just to kind of see the condition of the house.
right.
And then the other thing, I have I'd probably call an agent that I use on a flip and just see if he can get me some comps on it.
Is he working? You said it's outside of your normal area.
It's just, yeah,
Would
yeah,
he be
it's
good at that, or well, anyway, you're gonna have to I would recommend now. Sometimes if you get good enough terms and you don't have a major foundation issue or roof issue you're gonna have to address right away. That's
right.
you have your inspector, and I would do an interior BPO or appraisal on this. But you know, but if your point is for long-term cash flow, what we can
Mhm.
see is the rent is 1,200 a month. Is that about market? Do you or think it's low or high or what?
The landlord, the owner indicated that that was a little lower, but
Okay, so
yeah,
let's pretend. So I've got 125 in here. You think let's be conservative on what you think it'll be worth. We can see that the rents are the gross rents are 1% of the
right,
value of the
right,
property. To me is like, okay, that's already worth entertaining right there. I don't know, in that area, maybe you can get 1,200, only spend 100,000. I don't know. But
right.
in these Western states over here, if you can get 1%, that's like that's
That
a happy place right
that's a
there.
miracle.
Yes, it is. It is a miracle. Right? So anyway, so then it's just about terms that you can make sense. So let's just say without we know we need to solve the other person's problem or we don't get paid, right? I mean,
Right.
win-wins are about it's good for everybody. But let's just say,
Mhm.
what's your perfect picture about what you would be willing, cash flow, money up front to pay? You're saying it looks like on your paper here, 10% down, you'd be willing to do. But
Yeah.
but I would take whatever, minus whatever this price is, we have to minus, let's say your inspector comes, oh, dude, you're gonna have at least 5 grand. It's
Yeah.
gonna be, let's just say that. All right.
Yep. Yep.
So now even with owner financing, you're not gonna pay any more than that, right? So
Hmm.
then 10% down would be $12,000. That money would help them cover their closing costs. It would help them pay down their HELOC if they're smart, or if they don't need the money to live on. I mean, I'm not saying smart. I'm just saying sometimes people are a little in a jam more than they know. So let's just.
Right.
So do you think it could cash flow if you put 10% down, which would leave us a 108 note here? And what is the payment? Now you got 1,200 coming in. I'm going to back up. So even if you don't raise the rents,
Yep.
normally what do you have for your reserve? Do you have a number you use? I use 35%, 25 to 35% for expenses that I just put away and I don't plan to use.
Right. Right. So yeah, I usually do like like for capex, just like a 8% of the rent, so um to yeah, so that's how kind of how I figure reserves on a monthly.
Okay,
So
well, I'm gonna just upend you here and do my own
mhm.
numbers because I like
Yeah,
my numbers better. Okay,
sure.
I'm gonna say you're gonna put 300 away minimum, goes into the
Mhm.
savings for future expenses because I don't like my
Okay.
buy and holds to ask to pull money out of my account. I like the money to be stacking up for the next thing that I'm gonna need, you know?
Right.
So, so I'm gonna say that you only have 900 then coming in with which to cover your debt service
Yep.
and the other things. So basically, you said 900 minus this. If you took over the existing,
Mm-hmm.
right, and provided it's good, you need to make sure that it's good long-term financing.
Right.
So just to break even, you can't pay them for their part any more than 200 a month,
Yep.
or maybe nothing for the first while. And that will help them, cover their HELOC payment.
Yeah.
But there's only so. I mean, you can try to help them, but you can't totally rescue them from their situation
Yeah.
unless you bought it for cash and they could just cash out of everything.
Right.
If they put the down payment towards the HELOC, then they would, their payment might be as
Yeah.
low as 200. So that would just be knowing you have not. This isn't really cash flow. This is
Yeah.
a long-term investment. You see what
Right.
I'm saying? And then you go, okay, based on that, uh, you have to just go, what am I willing to pay? Like I'm only willing, you can only pay max. This is just to skate even, and right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
408, and let's see if we amortize that over 360 here in N, and I wouldn't pay that. I wouldn't pay that. Yeah, I would. Do you know how much longer they have to run on their underlying?
I I don't I don't no, wait, hang on. It's oh, I do. It's because I did ask.
Yeah, we just need to know how many years they have
Yeah.
left.
Let me just uh 30, it's a 30-year fixed.
Yeah, but when was it originated?
Oh, when was it? I don't know.
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
could be 5 years into it or 15 years
Right.
into it. It really makes a big difference.
Okay.
So to make this deal work, you've got to get a better price or better terms. And so basically, just the thing is, you might only be able to give them 10% down and basically take it subject to
Yeah.
their 700, because then that 200 is at least a little bit of cash flow, and at least they're coming out of pocket for their HELOC still, but at least they don't have exposure to maintenance issues that'll completely blow up
Right.
make them
Right.
miss their mortgage payment. They might be at that point where, gosh, one big expense or 1 month the tenant doesn't pay rent, they might not be able to pay their mortgage, and that
Yep.
might be weighing on them heavier than that HELOC payment, that they have. So you got to do what makes sense for you, because if you're not viable, you're not in business long enough to create solutions for other people. So
Yeah.
so I don't know. I don't think you can do more than take over their existing. Um, I guess that's what I would do.
Yeah. That
Give
that
them give
yeah.
them give them 10,000, give them 20, whatever, 10 to 20,000, whatever
Mhm.
you can negotiate. Take over their payment, and then it just will probably make them rest a little easier. So
Right. Right. Yeah, and yeah, so that's I was thinking that if they could just cover the PITI on the rental, use, then the down payment they can throw at the HELOC, at least
mhm.
get that down. And then um so I guess the other question is, So they indicated that they don't want to hang on to the house more than 5 years. So I need to cash them out within 5. And so,
Well,
that's,
yeah. So cash out their equity.
yeah,
So
yeah.
let's see what equity they have. Let's see if the as is price worth 120 and then minus the 80 they owe. Okay, and you're going to give them 12,000 potentially.
Mm-hmm.
So their equity is 28,000. So I guess, I mean, if they sell it to you and just let you take over, subject to the existing financing,
Yeah.
they just have to be willing to wait for their 28,000. I would say that you could, offer to start paying them at that point, or it's. I mean, what if it was at 0%?
Mm-hmm.
Or there's no. I'm doing this wrong. 0%, right? Fully amortized, and you pay them 200 a month starting 5 years from now or something. I don't know, what would that take? Take another almost 12 years to pay them off.
Yeah.
Or you could start that now. I'm just saying that if they want you could offer that. It's like, okay, that 200, I'll pay you, so you won't have any cash flow really from the property, but you get their equity at 0% and they get it over time instead of never.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So I'm sorry. So when I'm saying cashing out, they, at say, before 60 months would be to pay off the balance of the principal.
Well, they have to, the way I see it,
Yeah.
unless prices go up and then you can just sell and cash everybody out. If this is a long-term hold for you, they have to be willing to let you ride that bank financing all the way out.
Okay.
So you just, if you're going to promise them a payout in 5 years, then I don't know. There's not a lot of cash flow for you to work with there. Maybe you put less down then. Maybe you put a smaller percent down. You keep more of the cash flow up front, and then you can. If you're going to have a short-term window, you better make sure it works for you in a short term, and not bank on what's it going to be worth. What are interest rates going to be at that time? What are property values going to be at that time? So, yeah, I would maybe just offer them. It's almost like an option to buy more like that, where you just maybe put down $3,000 or $5,000, something like that, and then keep more of the cash flow. Let them take that money and worry about it, So anyway, does that make sense? Did that help at all? Kind of,
yeah, it does.
Around a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, anything before we move on to our next thing? Is there anything else?
As far as selling something like this on the secondary market, right? So how would that work? Like, if I have this note, is this something that I could sell, or
now this situation here?
Yeah.
You don't have a note to sell because you would be buying this property, right? So you're a borrower. They would have a note to sell.
They would have the note. Okay.
So that's a great question. So the thing is, they're going, if I sell to this guy, I can get the price I want, but then I can sell my note to cash out and get my money. Well, let's just see how that would work out for them. Okay, so let's say they have a 108 note that we had in here, and say 7%, and you were paying 900. Okay, that's 207 months. So anyway, 16, 17 years, something like that. So now let's say if they were going to sell it, the first thing that invest and they go, oh, okay, we'll just get our money out. We'll sell this note. Someone will take 7%. Well, someone might take 7%, but it's hard to find those people. Like I have a little bit of 7% money, but to make money, I've got to buy it at a 9-10% yield, right?
Right.
So let's just see if I was going to put in, let's see, and even this is low, depending on it. Maybe I really loved the property. Okay, if I needed 10%, it was written at 7. I need 10. So what will I pay for this $108,000 note? $88,000, right? So they will make, if they took this offer, after they pay off their underlying, they'd only make $8,600.
Right.
Whereas they'd be better off, instead of sell it to you for 125 or 120 or something, they'd be better off to sell it for 110, right?
Yep.
110, and that would give them what, 30,000 to walk away with, right? Yep. And the second thing is, I would go, okay, is this amount divided by the value of the property? That's a little 71%. I don't like to be that high. I really shoot for 65%.
Okay.
You know, so you can see that even though the yield wise, I might be willing to pay 88, but really from my underwriting and risk, I only want to be at 65 cents. So I'd only pay 81. So basically after closing costs, they wouldn't walk away with anything. At least they would get rid of the bank loan that's in their name, but they wouldn't walk away with anything. Right? Yep. So it's better for them to drop the sales price. If they really want out, they should knock off 10-20% off the price tag of ARV and sell for cash and get out. That's really probably what would be better for them. Yep. People have different reasons they make choices, right? And so there's you never can tell. So in that case, if they really just want to cash out, they do better to get a cash offer at a lower sales price than to get a high owner carry note. But you know, if they want the high price, they have to not be needing to cash out. They got to let it long. They got to let it run long. So,
yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep. That's good.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for being
with us
this morning. I really appreciate you taking the time to share this situation, and I really, wish for you to be very successful in all the things that you're doing and the lives that you're touching. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Aloha.
Aloha.
All right. Take care.
You too.
Okay. Fantastic. So Kishore, I'm sorry.
Hi, Don. Good afternoon. This is, good morning to you.
Yeah.
Namaste. It's an Indian greeting.
Namaste.
Namaste. So you hope you know that term. Anyway, Mike, I'm saluting to the good spirits and the guiding spirit, so you can guide others like me into a fruitful retirement. Anyway, a little bit about my background. I've been here in Michigan for quite a while, and I'm an automotive engineer. Currently, I'm consulting. I have my own consulting business. My goal is trifecta, if you will. I'm very specific about my goals. Firstly, I'd like to actively invest some of my monies, a little money that I've saved up in my IRA, both actively and passively, and also make about between 150 to 200 per month by the process of hypothecation or using the partials. So I'd like to get that up to about 5,000 a month, including my active and passive investment.
Yes.
So that's what my question is going to pertain to during the remainder of our conversation here.
Okay. So fantastic. So you're an entrepreneur, or are you working for a company, or?
Yeah, I trade hours for dollars. Unfortunately, that's the way it is right now. But I'd like to.
But you have a full-time job?
Yes.
And do you like the job?
Not really.
No. Okay.
So I'm at a point in my life where I don't want to trade money for dollars. I'd like to be in a position like you, and obviously you've been through that journey, I feel that time is of the essence. You know, I'm not getting any younger by the day. And,
Right.
so I'd like to get away from the rat race, if you will. So my magic number is that specific, measurable
Okay, so just
dollar amount.
yeah, let's just for kicks and giggles, if you need your 5,000 a month, right? That
Mhm.
because you've minimized your expenses and then you have passive income to cover, whatever that is. You say 5,000, and if you can make 200 as a spread on a deal, you would need to put 25 deals together where you have a $200 spread. So actually, and if you so even if you did, I don't know, let's say 5 deals. How many deals do you think you can do in?
To be honest, I have not started the journey, so I got process.
Okay, well, let's just say you do one every other month.
Okay.
Let's just say if you could, then in 4 years, you have options. If you've fallen in love with your job or got a better one where you find great meaning, you have good cash flow, and you can just be turning that active income and turning it into passive income. Take the money, cash that's coming in, and throw it into assets that feed you, right? So there's nothing wrong with a job, especially if a lot of people don't like their jobs, but some really do, and there's nothing wrong with, we need those people, right? We need
They're like 81% of the people say they don't like their job, but they still go. So I'm that 81%.
Okay, just fair enough. So that's great. All right, so we can see that this isn't, without you even being outrageous, in 4 years you could get there, just putting 25 deals together, making a spread of 200 each. So let's go. I wonder what that would look like.
Is that doable? I mean, is my goal, I mean, it's a question I should pretty much answer myself, I guess. Is it realistic to do with a full-time job, doing $200 a deal?
Okay, so it depends on a lot of things. It depends on like where you're at, which I don't really know, and we'll explore that for a few minutes here. It depends on how much capital do you have right now of your own that you could start with. It depends on a lot of things. So the thing is, yes, it's doable. Let's just start with the first thing. Do you have any money, a chunk of change that you could invest right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you have a full-time job, it's tough to be the rainmaker, right? It's tough to spend 2 to 5 years building up a business so that you have the leads coming into you. So if you have a full-time job, really what you want to do is hook up with people who do have deal flow, like myself, or hard money brokers, or other people brokering notes.
No, that's exactly, you hit the nail on the head.
Right.
Yourself, and there's one of the lady, I can't remember, she's from California someplace. I've been listening to your podcast, so that for preface, I've been listening to your podcast for a year and a half, but finally I got around to calling in today. This is a young lady who invests for fixes and flips, and she does not a mechanics lien, she does a first or second position lien. That's appealing to me as well. So I've been working with a real estate agent, and I've been trying to also get my real estate license so that I can officially do that. And what I've been trying to do is get the look at probates as well, talking to lawyers and stuff, so that I could do like a wholesale thing where if there is a position where.
So actually, what I'm hearing is that you want to be an active investor.
I would like to get there. That's my long-term goal. But short-term is work with individuals like yourself and this lady out in California. I can't remember her name, unfortunately. And see if I can learn that aspect of the business as well, doing the fix flips, financing the homeowner who wants to, not a fix flip, but work on their home to upgrade or whatever, and finance them so that I own a first or second position lien, so that I'm not a mechanics lien. So I don't know how the mechanics of how all that works, but I'm keen to learn.
Okay, fantastic. So this is just part of it, just hanging around the conversation. So if you're going to invest passively, you're going to work with other people who are the rainmakers, the deal finders, so
Right.
no brokers, hard money brokers, active investors who are just like, hey, I'm going to borrow money from you to fix and flip this house, right? So you can either loan money and at a variety of rates. Seconds, of course, are going to be a lot more risky. A lot of if there's another downturn,
Right.
that's when a lot of
I know it's coming.
wipes
It's in
right
Michigan already. I don't know if you know
Right.
it's
Right. So anyway, you can either originate notes, just loan money to other people or through a broker, or you can buy notes on the secondary market, which is the bulk of our business, besides the little Airbnbs that we run now. But anyhow, so I want to just take one thing before we get too lost, too many directions. I just want to say, let's take one example. Actually, what I'd like to do is we'll work off this deal, the numbers that I already have in for Mike, right? Let's just say that you bought this note, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So the property was worth $125.
Okay.
Right? And you're saying, what's your maximum loan to value, investment to value that you would like to be? If a property is worth 125, what's the most you want exposed?
From little that I've read and listening to the podcast, I think they want you to be in the 65 to 70 or 60 to 70 range.
That's mine.
Okay.
That's mine. So good. So let's just take in the 70 number. Let's say this is, oops, what did I do? 125 times 70% of that. So this is the most you're going to invest against this note that, Mike bought the property from the people and they decided to sell the note to you.
Right.
Okay. And you bought it, let's say you bought it at a 10% yield, or it was 207 payments. So let's see the yield. You got just over 10.2. Okay. So, number one, do you have $87,500 that you could throw at this?
I want to spread my thing. I don't want to lock my entire amount. So that's where I felt that, obviously you got to diversify,
Right.
In this day and age, you can never know where,
No, if you keep, you have to have a huge amount of money never to bring in financial partners, right?
But what I could do is, Don, I work with other entrepreneurs like myself, I could bring in other people's money.
Exactly.
And be part of this, so then I could get a spread on.
Exactly. So if you're not, so the point, I'm really glad this is going great. So you actually brought up the direction where you're going to be the most successful with the lowest amount of work, right? Your low-hanging fruit is getting other investors in with you, but they usually want to see that you've done it a couple of times and you talk about your successes, right? Right. So anyway, so if you're not going to spend the next 2 to 5 years being a full-time entrepreneur, being bringing deals so that you're the deal maker, you're the deal finder yourself, right? The next best thing, and for most people, I would say for most people, the low-hanging fruit, if your network is such and your familiarity with being able to converse about this product, your lowest hanging fruit is to get other people in with you. And let's say you need to cultivate money up that's used to 1, 2, 3, 4%, and you need to offer them 5, 6, 7, 8%, right?
Right.
Okay. So, and the lower the better. So you don't go to a room full of investors that are all yield chasers and everybody wants, 15% up on their money. You don't, that's not where you go.
Definitely.
You go to the people who have their money in a CD at the bank. They have, their best insurance, their best investment is a 4% annuity. Those are the people you go to.
Right.
Or the people who are losing money somewhere, right? And say, look, I can pay you 5, 6, 7%. If you want to invest with me, I'm keeping some of my money in. Usually people who aren't hip or not hip, that sounds like a silly thing to say, but if they're not familiar with this asset class, they're nervous, especially in the beginning. So that you need to use your abilities to make them feel comfortable, to be able to explain it, and they'll want to see that you're leaving some skin in the game here, right?
Right.
So let's just take this deal as a for instance. Okay, your goal is to try to make 200 passive with none of your own money invested.
Yeah, that's a perpetual. The money hits the bank without me doing it over and over again. That's where I want to be. My eventual goal is to make $200 a month in perpetual income and get that up to about $5,000.
So
in addition to my my passive income.
Right. Okay, so in this case, we're going to pretend like your investing partner isn't going to need to see that you keep skin in the game. Right? But if you had to, could you leave 5,000? Could you leave 5,000 in here?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's take out 5,000 because they're going to want to see that you have something to lose.
Right.
It's like this idea of wrapping. Like it's like someone
Yeah, I've heard of that.
You're wrapping a loan, right?
Right.
If you're going to do a discounted note, this is how we do it, right? So you're going to bring in 82.5, and you want to at least have. And so, how much do you think you could get? Let's say one of your entrepreneurial, partners, people that make a lot of money but don't have time to.
So let's say I'm skeptical like them, right? So hey, Kishore is working with somebody, they're trying to sell me skin oil. So they said, hey, Kishore, I don't mind, I don't know, 10,000. Let's see what you can do with 10,000.
What can you do with 10,000 on this deal?
So I could do another wrap. Can I?
Not on this. No.
Okay.
No. That's going a whole different direction. I just want to stay here for a minute. Let's just say that you were successful at getting someone who wants to play with you, right? Usually they like to see that you've at least done one deal that went well, and you have to be able to articulate it. So like if you say, I don't know what's possible, it's like, I don't know who you are to the people. I don't know if you're good at explaining things. I don't know if you feel confident in explaining things. So those skill sets though are the most important and valuable in the note business. If you want to make a passive spread, you have to be really good at developing your financial friends, your own personal back pocket friends. So if you're good at that, you can kill it no matter what the market's doing. Because even if you had, let's say it was super competitive and you had to buy this at an 8% yield. Well, if you still have someone that'll take 5 or 6, there's 2-point spread there for you, right? So it doesn't even matter if you're good at creating your own. Like it's taken me a few years to put all this together, but now I have a lady who will loan money at 5% for me in specific situations.
Right. So Don, I want to be leveraging your experience, that you garnered over the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah, so I want to pretend like
be able to do that.
Yeah, I want you to be able to do it too.
Right.
And I want everyone to be able to do this, right? So if you can take a friend of yours or a business associate, and I'm already going to say that you're good at all of the things and they trust you, and now they're the best investing, the best they're making on their money is 3 or 4%, and now you're going to offer them 6. I'm going to pretend that. Is that all right? Okay. I'm going to pretend. Now you're doing them a favor, right? You're giving them a higher return, right? So
backed by real estate.
They're going to bring in 82.5, and they're okay with 6. And you say, look, I've got 5,000 of my own. If anything goes wrong, I'm gonna get in there, roll up my sleeves, and do the elbow grease and fixing it for us, right? So if they bring in 82.5, they only need a 6% return to be good, and there's 207 payments left to go. How much of the payment are they going to need? They're only going to need 640.
Right.
Okay, and 900's coming in. So what's left for you?
About
259,
That's one deal.
32, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you have 5,000 of your own money left in it.
That's
So
about 9%.
what's your yield? 62%.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
Okay, right? The other way to play it would be, don't take it now. They need 8, they need 6. There's 900 coming in. This is a negative number over here. So how many payments do they need? Only 122. Let's say 123, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's 207 payments that you've purchased. You only need to give up 123 to your 6% investor. Then on the back end, you have 84 payments left coming to you of 900 a month.
Right.
So times 900. So this is like your own personal retirement account. You have $75,000 coming to you at the end.
Wow,
After your investors paid off, and you did them a favor. The person who needed to cash out of the note, you gave them liquidity, you gave them a way out, and you got what you wanted. Can you see how that can happen?
Surely.
So does that help a little bit?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Well,
Where do we get started?
you got to get started with buying a note from somebody, right?
Yeah,
so
that's a little bit of a background. I did go to a seminar. I started listening to you, of course, podcast, and I dug more. And I went to the Paper Source conference last March, and met with Bill Mancaro and the other Michigan players. I didn't want to like I said, lock up my entire chunk of money into one deal, and I'm paranoid about that. So I like your idea of doing a wrap wherein I have skin in the game, but yet convince my other investor to say, hey, look, I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and if you want this backed by real estate, here's a way to go about doing it, and this money is going to hit your account like an annuity for, like you said, 201 payments or whatever. So that sounds appealing to me.
Yeah, so that's great. And also, you do have to go, hey, Mr. Financial friend investor here, you realize that I can't guarantee this, that I am not God, and that certain things could happen. Like, you can't keep someone whole. Let's say there's a 100% catastrophe, environmental devastation in this area, or something that insurance won't cover, an act of terror, an act of war, an alien invasion, I don't know. Just things can happen. So you go, look, I can't guarantee it to you.
Right.
I'm willing, my money's here too, but I can tell you that if something goes sideways, I'll do everything I can, to rectify the situation, whether you're going to do a loan modification or you're going to do a cash for keys or you're going to have to foreclose, I'll take care of all of that. And in the meantime, you understand that you won't be getting your payments, but as soon as I resolve the situation, either payments resume or I cash you out because we sold the property at foreclosure and got cashed out, something like that. So anyway, we've got to wrap this up, but is it Kishore? How do you say your name?
Yeah, Kishore.
Kishore. Thank you so much for being on. And
Don, you're awesome. Thank you for being there for many people like myself. And I've been wanting to participate in this weekly conference call. I mean, this monthly conference call, but I never get the time right because Pacific time and Mountain time confuse the heck out of me. I know they're like 2 hours and 3 hours respectively, but
well, I really
always
appreciate you, really tuning in and caring. And the reason this is important is that we empower ourselves, right? I mean, yes, I know there's a place for everything, but I've drawn a line in the sand. I never will ask a bank for permission to close on a property. So either I buy cash with my investing partners helping me, right? I can borrow money from people. I pay cash, or I buy with owner carry, which is more often the scenario. I get owner carry terms from people.
Right.
And then most of the time, many times when I'm selling, I offer owner financing when I'm selling. Not always, but I love that dance between property, paper, and keeping it on a mom and pop, creating financial solutions, just one mom and pop to another. Because when you can take a local investor
Mm-hmm.
and a local, borrower and a local seller or whatever, and we can keep the money in our community, then it doesn't go outside the community to be ripped off, right? Keep the wealth here, and the more wealth that stays in the community, the more home ownership we create in our communities, the better it is. The safer our streets are to walk, the better our businesses do. People can afford to go out to dinner once in a while. They can afford a special class for their kids. They can, so to me, the conversation is not just about money. Of course, money is great, and we need to pay attention to it. It's a wholesome. We just really need to relate to it in a wholesome way. And to me, when you have a mom and pop deal that's not just some faceless, nameless entity out there somewhere, it's that's where it gets real, and where you create, those heartfelt connections. Sometimes it's not so heartfelt. Sometimes you have to play, tough love, like with your kids, right? So you can't stay if you don't pay. I mean,
so Don, if you don't mind, please tell me what would be my next step. What is
you have, okay, you're gonna have to have deal flow, which you're gonna tap into somebody else who has deal flow, and then you have to have an investing partner. So your path to cash, low-hanging fruit, sounds to me is like cultivating investing partners. So you need to figure out how if you need to be able to articulate it to people so that they want to invest with you. If you can find a smaller opportunity where you can just tie up some of your money so that you can talk about it. The best way that either personal referrals, right? If you take a small deal, then you can say, hey, look, I'm doing really well. I'm making 8, 9, 10% on this deal. Every payments are coming in, everything's going great. And if you just talk about it and you're not hard pushing, right? So if right now, anywhere you could find a deal to buy from someone or a loan to make, right? So as soon as you can find an investing partner, there's no end of deals that you can put together right now for a spread. It might be a 1% spread, 2, 3, I don't know, it just depends. So you're investing partners, and then just finding someone who's got a note to sell or a loan to make, and then doing it, leveraging that other person's money, and voila, you got it.
Don, and I appreciate.
I'm sorry, we need Kishore. I really appreciate. We've got to wrap up here.
Okay, thank you.
At the end of our call, I would invite anyone, and I'm so sorry. There's only, I know, so much time. I would love to keep going sometimes, but if there's more that you want, please, access the archives and things, or if you'd like, you can get one-on-one with me on the phone down the road. And I just, before we quit, I wanted to bring up. Where am I going to be live events? I want to announce that I live in Carson City, the Reno Tahoe area of Nevada, and I rarely go back to LA, but this is one thing that I'm going to be doing next month. If you're in Southern California and you're a woman, I'm sorry, it was not my idea that it's a woman's event, but they asked me to speak. So it's in Studio City. I just want to give a shout out to Deborah Razzo, who puts this together, and it's called Ignite Your Fire Within. Guess my internet's super slow right now, but anyway, you can look up on my Note Queen site if you want training under live events. I also do, if you're in the Reno Tahoe area, a local meetup the 4th Tuesday of every month or thereabouts. So anyway, that's all I have, and I just want to remind you to use your powers for good and go out there and create financial solutions, just one mom and pop to another. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. Appreciate you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Virtual Coffee with Dawn Rickabaugh. For more, please visit notequeen.com.